Okay, let's try this again. I don't know what this title is going to be. I just had a inkling to make it. I can make half of them or most. Let's start with the hook. I'm sure by now it's not a surprise to anyone that the housing market has fundamentally changed. And the worst part is it may change again, and it could make things worse for both buyers and sellers. So stand by, and we're going to go over everything that you need to know in order to buy a home or sell a home before things get worse. Okay, let's go with the intro. In case we haven't met, my name is Eric Hudson. I'm a real estate agent here in the Las Vegas area, and every day people call out and every day people reach out by phone, text, or email. And if you have any questions about the real estate market, please call, text, or email us. Our information is in the info tab. And if you want to get on a calendar really quick, down below is a calendar link, and you can get on my calendar for at least 15 minutes and we can talk about whatever interests you. Okay, let's go ahead and get into it. Well, it's about to get worse. I'm sure you've noticed that the price of houses have come down since the beginning of the year. On top of that, it's even more expensive to buy a house. In reality, the price of houses have not come down. They've actually gone up. Now, you may look at this screen and go like, are you crazy? The price of homes have gone up? Yes, they have. Do you know why? Because of the massive rise in interest rates that we've had. Now, here in the Las Vegas area, the median price of a home has gone down from its all-time high of $482,000 to a new median of $450,000. Yet, it has actually started to maintain that. So we started to finally get a little bit of stability here in our market. And then the shoe drops. Jerome Powell and the Fed, in order to control inflation, have put the band hammer down, and they have raised interest rates by 0.75% or 75 basis points. Here's where it's going to matter. Soon, interest rates are probably going to go up at least 0.5%, which is going to make it even more unaffordable for people to buy homes. And what that's going to do is put pressure on prices, either to keep them holding steady or to push them down slightly. Now, if you look, we have had a massive growth. In my almost 9 years in real estate, I have not seen this type of inventory in my market. Never. And yet we have the highest inventory I've ever seen. And yet, for some odd reason, by statistics, it's a seller's market. But it doesn't feel like that seller's market. I know I've said that many times, but it doesn't. People are panicking. Last week alone, twice as many people reduced the price of their houses than houses came on the market. 1/4 of all houses on the market had a price reduction in the last 7 days. 1/4. So it does not feel like it's a seller's market. Yet, we don't have 6 months of inventory, which makes it at least a balanced market or a seller's market. We are not in a buyer's market, but because of what's going on, buyers can run the ring and get what they want. They can get their closing costs. They can get point buy downs. They can get everything else. So what we're going to talk about today is what you need to do as a buyer or seller. So this is a completely agnostic video. The entire point is to get to you where you need to be. If you need to sell, the point of this video is to get you to sell as fast as possible and get you the most money before the other shoe drops. If you're a buyer and you're going like, well, gee whiz, prices go down, it helps me. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way, because the reason prices are going down is because interest rates are going up. So let's go ahead and illustrate that a little bit more. So let's just look at some mortgage figures. That way you can kind of figure this out and see where I'm going with this when I say prices have actually still been going up for some people. Okay, let me get in here, put my mortgage calculator on. So if you had purchased a house at the top of the market, when the median price was $482,000, and interest rates, let's use a number out there, I'm not quoting any interest rates, I'm not a lender, 3.25%, used a 5% down loan. Of course, if you're a veteran, that's 0%, 3.5 if you're an FHA borrower, and you can actually get down to 3% for conventional. And in each one of those cases, except for the VA loan, you're going to have PMI, private mortgage insurance. But here's what you would have paid. Back at the height of the market, your monthly payment would have been, at the height of the market, your monthly payment would have been $2,466. That's all in, including taxes and insurance and all that stuff. But let's say you bought a house right here, right now. Current interest rates. And I'm going to use 6% for the current interest rate, even though it has creeped a little bit beyond that, but we're just going to use 6% to make it simple. Everything else being the same with the current price of $450. Whoops. Now that will bring you to a payment of $3,024. Wow. $500 and almost $50 more per month with a reduced price. Well, for the homeowner, someone who's trying to sell, somebody to buy your house has to pay $550 more. And that's at a reduced price than if they had bought it just a few months ago. For the buyer, you're sitting around going, oh, I wish the prices will crash by 10%, 20%. Great, but how much are you paying? This interest rates may last for a year or two. You're going to be stuck paying those. Let's see here. Do this. So when I started to run the numbers, for a $450,000 house now is the same payment as a $620,000 house just a few months ago. Do you think somebody who wanted to buy a $620,000 house just 6 months ago is really interested in the $450,000 house? Not as much. But think about the reverse. What about the person who could afford a median priced house? What can they afford now? They can afford less. So you have a shorter, smaller pool of people, which is less chance to bid up your house. But the fact that housing prices have only declined by $32,000 with all of these interest rates increases is actually a miracle. I mean, it really is a miracle. Let's see, where am I going to go next? So I just finished with miracle. It really is a miracle. It's a miracle. It really is a miracle. So here's what you have to start thinking about. You want to get rid of your house. I don't want to just say get rid of it. You want to sell your house for the most money possible before you have a smaller pool of people who you can deal with, and even more people try to get out while the getting's good. So one of the things you need to do is find out what the buyer wants. Well, representing both buyers and sellers, I get to see it from both ends. Right now, what the buyer wants is they start to look at their payment. They used to look at prices a little bit more. Now they still are, but they're considering their payment. Before, it was almost free money. They don't have free money anymore. They have normal money, which feels very bad to them. It weighs down upon them. Well, what can you do to help out? First of all, they're going to have less money to do things. People who bought a house a year ago, you're still ahead by double digits. That's hard to believe. As much stuff as you see in the news, as much as your friends are talking, you're still up by double digits. So you don't go into the single digits or break even or, God forbid, negative. Or God forbid, negative. You need to find a great buyer for your house. And things that buyers are looking for: interest rate buy downs. I was talking to a lender today, and the thing that is working, that is moving houses, is an interest rate buy down. If you give an interest rate buy down, you can buy that rate down to something like 4.5%. How much does that save somebody a month over the person who is still doing this? Can I just try for one more week? Let's take a look real quick. If you got it down to 4.5%, their payments are only going to be $2,624. I'm sorry. If you got that rate down to 4.5%, their payments are only going to be $2,627. That is enough to possibly keep someone in a home that wouldn't qualify before. That interest rate buy down, that if you gave 3% or something, is magical. What if you were to help with closing costs and do an interest rate buy down? You have increased your pool of potential buyers, which means you're going to have more eyes on your house. And before the next shoe drops, you'll be able to slide in there and get more money. Some people are going like, well, I'm going to get less money. I've got to give them all of this money. Yeah, you do. Here's the thing. You give them that money, your house sells. So remember when I said a quarter of houses had a remember when I said a quarter of houses reduced their price last week? What if you were not one of them? Because you were doing smarter things. If you reduce your price of your house by 10% and you had a $400,000 house, you gave away $40,000. If you gave a 3% interest rate buy down, you gave away $12,000 to buy them down to 4.5%. There's all kinds of smart things you can do. All you got to do is look for them and start going, is it better for me to reduce my price or to get more money, and just give them a little bit and kind of share the wealth, share the pain even. Now, some people want to have their cake and eat it too. Don't worry about them. Other things you can do, not only closing costs, not only interest rate buy downs. Here's another one. You know you can pay off PMI. Somebody's sitting there, they're going like, man, I got to pay $125 a month PMI. Did you know for like a couple of $1,000 you can actually get rid of PMI and you can pay that for them? Gee whiz, I just saved $125 plus I saved $400. Why wouldn't I give you full price if it will appraise? Instead of being like everyone else who are reducing their prices by $40,000. I was talking to an agent on Thursday, and we are talking about how tough the market was, and he went, well, I've gotten rid of all of my listings except for one. They're all under contract. I was like, what did you do? Radical price decreases. Not price decreases, radical price decreases. Do you want to be in the do you want to be in the category of radical price decreases, or just giving somebody $12,000 and putting the rest in your pocket? These are things you need to do. And now, continuing to be agnostic, let's go ahead and talk about the buyer. I know you're hurting. I know that these prices are killing you, combined with the interest rates. Ask for the things I just talked about. Ask for interest rate buy downs. Get it down to 4.5%, 5%, whatever. You'll save hundreds of dollars per month. Get them to pay your closing cost. Get them to pay off your PMI if you're conventional loan. My goodness, no PMI, 4.5% closing cost. Yeah, it's getting you into a house that would have cost you a lot more. It's getting you into a house that you may not have been afforded otherwise. So maybe before you could have afforded a $450,000 house. Now you can afford a $550,000 house. You've got more house for the same payment. Now, not every seller is going to think about this, or every seller is going to be too bold and they're going to say, I'll just wait to see. And then they're going to hurt themselves, but it's not going to help you. Ask for those things. Ask for that 3% for rate buy down. Ask for closing costs. Of course, have your real estate agent look in and find out what they paid for the house. Somebody made a suggestion about 2 weeks ago to me. What they're planning to do was find out what the person paid for the house and what they're asking for it, and offer halfway between, and just keep doing that until someone accepts. It may work, it may not. But here's what I do know. If I bought a house 2 years ago and I'm up $130,000, which people are in the median price ranges, I take that same person, I go like, hey, pay my closing costs, I take that same person, I say, pay my closing costs, pay some interest, buy down. They're out 20 grand. Well, everybody else is lowering the prices of their houses by 40. They saved 20 grand. You got into a house you couldn't have gotten into. And even if you took their 40 grand reduction, great. Your payment still would have been higher. You're putting money in your pocket or saving it every month, and they're putting more in their pocket. It's called win-win. So these are the strategies you need to start looking for when buying and selling a house in this most trying time ever. And again, if you have, if you need to reach out to me because you need some help with your real estate needs, call, text, or email me. Information's in the info tab. And of course, information's down in the calendar link if you want to get on my calendar. And if you found a little bit of value today, of course, hit that subscribe button, like this video, and leave a comment, because that's the way the YouTube algorithm works.